Welcome to The Elder Scrolls for 2025. So, I was lucky enough to be invited to come and have an early preview of the Elder Scrolls Online Direct presentation that you will have just seen. This video is being recorded 2 days before the entire world gets to see the presentation. And also I had the privilege of being able to ask some questions and be part of a Q&A with Rich and Susan and Matt after we actually got to see the Elder Scrolls Direct. So we got to actually ask some questions, and I have some information for you. Now, of course, the rest of the community, as this video is going live, is getting to ask questions, so there may be more things that come out. I will do more videos as I find out more information, but as much as I know right now is here in this video. So let's get into it. So the first aspect of the new updated Elder Scrolls Online are introducing new innovations into the game. So one big aspect of this, which we've already tested, was this Cyrodiil's champion test on the servers. So that was the Vengeance campaign for PvP, where all of the skills were stripped back to their very, very smallest essence, so that the team could work out exactly where the pain points, where the bottlenecks were for server performance for Cyrodiil for big battles. I threw myself into Cyrodiil during the test and had the best time. I have not seen so many players in the one place for literally years, going all the way back to like the Wabberjack campaigns of the early ESO, and it was fantastic. Rich used the word phenomenal, as in a phenomenal result, and the numbers were huge, something like 3 times larger than normal, and larger even, I think, than the original numbers that were in Cyrodiil way back when. It was absolutely a fantastic time. You should expect to see the next Cyrodiil test, so where they introduce some more features and then they rerun it again to get more data, sometime in June, so update 46, we should expect to see a new one. Now, another new innovation that they're bringing into the game is a new welcome back feature. So if you're a new player and you're still learning the systems, or you're an older and returning player who have been out for a while and then suddenly, what is this system? What is this system? How does this work? There'll be a new way of introducing you to these concepts, sort of a shortcut. Here's your previous series that you reintroducing you to skills you might have used before, new ones you haven't seen. There will be possibly, as I understood it, it's a system rather like a Golden Pursuit, where you complete things and you get rewarded for doing that. I'm not 100% sure, just going off what comments there I was able to get, but that sounds super interesting. The other thing is, it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of system. It does seem to be able to be tuned per player. So, for example, I assume if you haven't been introduced to the Antiquity system, you'll get prompted to try that out, something along those lines. And it's also not fixed in that they're only doing one pass. They're going to iterate on, is this working? Are we seeing players enjoying and interacting with older systems and newer systems? Do we need to improve things? Which I think is great. So you will have also already seen them polishing the starter zones. There will be more polish going over older places of the game. They have a huge list of things they're going to work on. So, but they're basically going to work through different zones. And of course, we're looking at expanding and continuing the original main story, which brings us to that's right, new story. We're actually continuing an old story. We're taking the old original main quest and continuing it into the new seasons of the Worm Cult. So this will be a direct sequel to what happened with Molag Bal and some of the original characters that were there. Just saying. The Worm Cult are back and they're roaming the land again, or roaming all of the lands actually. Right now, the prologue quest has gone live, which means that you can go and find out a little bit of the new story that is to come, including some of the new little mini incursion events that will be part of the Worm Cult. So do go and check that now. There will be a new lead character called Wormblood. That's all we know. Necromancer, obviously, but that's all that we know about that new sort of big bad. And you will expect to see reappearing characters. So Raz is back, Gabrielle is back, Vanis Galarian is back, Scordo is back, and Prince Azar, who I think... correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's the main prince from Alakia, but I'm not 100% sure. I need to go and look him up and find out who he is. And we are going to... That's right, a new zone. So we will be in the new zone of Solstice. So this is a brand new island. It does not exist in ESO, and it does not seem to exist in existing ESO lore. I may be wrong, but so it's an island south of Murkmire. It's the size of the content for the island, for the full island, similar to existing chapters. So kind of that sort of Westweald, High Isle kind of size. We're talking the same sort of land area, the same sort of amount of people and places and that kind of thing. So that sort of size we're looking at. To start with, you'll be able to access Western Solstice. It has a tropical vibe. It's colourful. It's Caribbean. There's blue seas and green palm trees and yellow sand, and it looks glorious. It looks like so much fun. I'd like to live there. Thanks very much. And it is a mix of Argonian, the new Tideborn Argonian clan, and the Coriolanna High Elf clan. So the two clans are actually built or comprise of people who have been outcast from their existing tribes. So it's an island of outcasts. So interesting. Really looking forward to seeing how this story is. So the architecture, fascinating. So we've got we've got an Argonian foundation with the elegance of the High Elves built on top, which looks really fun. So it's the High Elf, but it's not clean and neat. It's green and overgrown, and I can't wait to see what we do with this. You'll have noticed with the current Jubilee going on, that the Jubilee cake, it's actually got an Argonian theme to it. And I think we can sort of see why. So apparently there are other people from other parts of Tamriel hanging around in Solstice as well, including there was one comment saying there was Nord stuff in the north. Don't know what that is. We're going to have to explore to find out. Not only is there all of the existing world stuff, there is a new Sanguine Carnival, it's called, which is a magic carnival on the beach that people can enter and then perhaps never leave. I think that sounds fantastic, and I'd like to know more. And you should also expect to find Daedric ruins around the world, as well as the usual delves, public dungeons, etc. And the Daedric ruins apparently will have from the video, little mysteries that tie into the main story. Oh, that sounds interesting. Oh, I'm really interested in how that's actually going to come together. So, yeah. So, not only is there a new whole zone, there's a whole new type of combat. So of course, with a new zone, there are new monsters. So we've got new Argonian behemoths, colourful, glorious looking creatures who roll around and try to knock you down. The Argonian Stone Guardians, which you will have seen with the current season of Crown Crates as the polymorph. So you'll need to fight those that are guarding temples. And new giant Daedric satyrs who worship Molech Baal and who look super interesting, plus a whole heap more new beasties that we'll get to see as we go along. There will be a new trial called the Ossian Cage. It's a vault in Cold Harbor, and it is a 12-person trial with normal and veteran modes, and presumably hard mode as well. It absorbs the pain from players, perhaps, and then it releases that to power the evil beasties. Interesting. I don't know if that ties into the mechanics or how that works. We will find out. That one will be in Q2, so in June. And the real big change, and this is in June as well, are subclasses. So ESO is implementing subclasses. Now, what this means is you will take your class, the class of your character, you pick one skill line to keep, or at least one skill line to keep, and then you can pick up a whole skill line from any other class that you have access to. This is a base game edition, so you don't need ESO Plus, and you don't need access to the actual content pass for the year. However, if you don't already have access to the Necromancer, Warden, or Arcanist, you won't be able to pick those skill lines. So they are unlocked either with crowns, or if you've bought the previous chapters that had them as part of it, that's how you get those characters. But so it's basically pick a skill line from classes that you've got access to. Now, if you have already unlocked a character of those classes, you can pull it in straight away. If you haven't, if you've only got, for example, a Nightblade, and you want to add some Warden skills, but you've never played a Warden before, apparently there will be quests that let you unlock this, which is like, I do hope that players who've got the full quest can do it anyway, like who've got the characters can do the quest anyway, because please, I'd love to. Now, the cost for this, the in-game cost, is that skill points on your non-class skill lines will cost double. So if you're the kind of player who really only just has one character, you probably have 1 million skill points, especially if you've been playing for a long time, and this won't be an issue. But it is something to keep in mind, and it's something that you can work towards between now and when this all goes live. If you've only just got enough skill points right now, could be time to go off and do some dungeons, do some questing, and just unlock a whole bunch more skill points, so that when this launches, you've got all the flexibility you need to experiment with skill lines. So once you've got the skill line on the character, you will need to level the individual skills as you would normally. They don't, but then once they're leveled, they're there for you to use. So the other thing I would suggest is save your scrolls, save your master writs, however you normally level your character. Something to keep in mind, you might want to save onto that, hang on to it, so that when this launches you can quickly level additional skill lines if that's something that's important to you. So one thing that Rich specifically said is, this will break the meta. There will be something like up to 3,000 new combinations between all of the different ways you can put your characters together. You can, of course, just play the way you always have, and it will be perfectly fine. But, for example, if you've ever wanted to go, I just want as many pets as possible. I want the bear, but I also want the Sork pets. you can now do this. So there's all sorts of options that are out there. Do you want to play an absolute laser beam of a character? Yes, you can play an Arcanist with a beam and then add in the Templar beam. That's an option. Do you want to play an actual mage who just uses magic, who uses fire and lightning and frost? These things are now an option for you. But it's fascinating. I'll be really interested to see what kind of builds come out. There'll be lots of interesting combinations. And conveniently, come Monday, in just a few days, this will be available for testing on the public test server. I will be on there. I'll be on there, the public test server, on the test server launch day. We will be looking at this. So if you haven't joined me over at twitch.tv/ICYIC, link in the description and in the corner, you should do that. I will probably have some drops available and probably some giveaways, but we'll go over as much as we can when this launches. So how do we get a hold of all this? That's right. It'll be part of a new content pass. So, we're not having chapters anymore, though this whole year's content does look rather like existing chapters, and that's mainly because this is a transition between the old way of doing things and the new way, because a lot of this was in the pipeline as they've changed. But there will be a content pass. Content passes could be 12 months, like this current content pass will be, or they could be 3 months, or they could be 6 months. So this current content, once you purchase a content pass, it unlocks everything for the season. The current content pass for this year, which is a 12-month content pass, is $50 US, apparently, which is comparable with the chapter sort of pricing. We don't really necessarily have an idea about how ESO Plus works with this. Previously, ESO Plus gave you access to the new dungeons, but it does seem like the content pass is where the ESO dungeons are coming from. So it's not part of ESO Plus, or maybe it is. A bit of conflicting information at this stage, so we'll see what happens. But so yeah, I don't know. So, but it does seem like the dungeons are part of the content pass, but perhaps they're also part of ESO Plus. Who knows? We'll find out as we go along. So it's going to be broken up into quarter one, which we already have the new dungeons. So that's the 2 new dungeons that we've already had and we've already done. Quarter 2 is the Worm Cult story, part 1. So, and also the subclasses. That's the quarter 2. Quarter 3 is the super cool new exciting world event, which is called the Writhing Wall. Now, this will be a player-wide, server-wide event. It will unlock in stages where all of the players on the server contribute to it. It is not necessarily the same rate at which other mega servers. So, for example, maybe PlayStation European server unlocks stages before PCNA. I don't know. But each mega server has its own progress and can actually explore and release parts of the story before others. So there'll be multiple stages within the Writhing Wall event. So you'll need to, there's a wall that divides west and east solstice. It's a giant blue glowing wall of souls, and we need to take it down so we can get rid of the worm cult. That's all we really know at this stage. It reminds me of the ghost wall from original Morrowind days. So first we need to set up camps, then we need to defend the camps, and then we need to create a weapon to bring down the wall. So there'll be 3 stages that can be unlocked by the whole server. People who have the content pass will be able to participate fully, but people who don't have the content pass, who have the base game, apparently will also be able to help out with this. But there'll be some aspects of the wall breaking that they won't be able to help with. So, and in essence, if you have the content pass, you will be able to get to Solstice. And if you don't, you won't be able to be present there. So that kind of gives you an idea. So once we're through quarter 3, which has the Writhing Wall and 2 additional dungeons, so the Feast of Sorrows dungeons. So we actually do have 4 dungeons again this year. Then we're into quarter 4, which is another story content, which is part 2 of the Worm Cult story and of the eastern half of the Solstice Island. So, which is a very different, much more grim. It's been taken over by the Worm Cult. There's no glorious, bright colors. It's dark. It's spooky. Possibly a great place to spend Halloween or the Witches' Festival. So, things we don't know about the content pass yet. Don't know if it's a content pass that you can like unlock in the game by gameplay. I don't know if you need to grind aspects of it out. Is it more like a chapter where you just buy it and that's it? You buy it and do whatever you like and however fast you want, or are there things we need to do at a certain time? All of these things we don't know yet. But the big thing that was really emphasized by the devs was the ability to not be locked down to a particular 12-month cadence does mean that they can develop other systems at the pace that suits those systems best. So we can expect to see a much more sort of flexible releases, shorter releases, other systems that can be looked at. New seasons might include things like remixing existing zones, revisiting stories, coming back and telling further parts of existing stories, and perhaps we might be going back to various sorts of places to perhaps stab people in the back. Maybe Dark Brotherhood is the vibe that we're getting. So many exciting things to see with this new content. Don't forget the prologue quest is out now. If you missed the ESO Direct and you're just catching this, there is a 10-year monkey pet that you can unlock, and the code on the screen now of course the code is in the ESO Direct VOD, which you should go watch anyway, but you can use that code to unlock the monkey. You just enter it in game, I believe. But welcome back to ESO. We belong here, and it's so good to be here with all of you. Thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you next time.